Today in the garage we found this 63 Corvette sleeping under these bed sheets. It's being painstakingly restored. Or should I say unrestored? Or restored, I'm not sure. It's being unpainted. Unpainted, what does that mean? I'm going to explain to you what that means here today in the garage. Hi, this is Steve, and today in the garage I'm here with my new friend Jeff. We're looking at his 1963 Corvette split window in mid-restoration, and we're going to take a closer look at what he's doing here. It's really, really neat. So Jeff, how did you come by this car? How did you line up with this car?
It was a late-night Craigslist find. It was for sale. It was right on my way home. I went by and took a look at it, and a few weeks later, negotiations, and
I had to have it.
I had to have it. I had to have it.
And so, how long have you had it now?
I've had it for 4 years now, a little more than 4 years. I'm technically the third owner. The second owner owned it from 1971 until I bought it in 2017.
And that guy repainted this car white at some point.
Yeah,
right?
he said early on, so probably 72 or 73. He couldn't remember.
A full concourse white paint job?
No. Everything left in place. A pour tape job. All the weather stripping was painted white. Everything was painted white with overspray.
And so you decided to unpaint this car by carefully removing the cheap white paint job with razor blades, little DAs, little tools, and it's remarkable how well preserved the original paint is. I mean, it still has a shine to it. You haven't even really polished it yet. This is just how it's all coming off.
This is just sandpaper so far.
You can see areas where there was, previous work where they sanded it. And they didn't sand here. They decided to sand here. Probably minor parking lot stuff, right?
Yeah.
There doesn't appear to be any big damage on this car at all. The interior looks all original too. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. We're talking about the seats in this car, and they're completely original. And it'd be nice to not get rid of those rips in the upholstery. However, you want to retain the original character of the car. There's a couple different ways to go here. One, the best way is if you could find another 63 Corvette with some upholstery and put it in. Get nice original seats. The chances of finding two original seats in perfect shape are not going to happen, but you might be able to find a passenger seat or one driver's seat and take it to a good upholsterer who can piece in the sections. Or you could buy the reproduction upholstery, maybe cannibalize the reproduction upholstery pieces and have those put in. Either way, you want to try to retain, and Jeff's on board here with leaving as much of this car original as possible, and I really, really like that. Nice, very nice. Let's see what it looks like under here. Oh, what do we have here? Looks like a U-joint drive shaft damage. Somebody's doing a burnout at one point. Original jack here too. But this can happen. Jeff, help me understand the process here. Exactly how are you doing this? How are you stripping this paint? 75% stripped down to the original blue paint. You can see a little bit of white paint. Looks like you have the left fender and the header panel left to do. How did you do all this? You did not do this chemically.
No, I tried. It was probably a good 6 months of trial and error before I settled on my system. But each portion of the car was done slightly differently depending on how the car was prepped. There were some areas of the car that were just sprayed white with no prep, no primer underneath it, and those came off with tape. Just like waxing, a piece of tape stuck down, ripped off. I tried 10 different kinds of tape till I settled on one I really liked. So all these areas in here, in the tight areas, a lot of the door jambs were all tape removed. From then I bought, a real cheap artist's like clay modeling kit or dental kits, and you can get a lot of different small tools that you can then sharpen, different size razor blades for all the little tight corners. But the bulk of the work on this comes with just a little small DA. They have a few different size heads on them. I put a nice big soft foam pad on top of that, and then I cut my own hook and loop sanding sheets, and I start, the most I'll use is maybe a 400 to start with the white, sometimes 320, and then all the primer is removed with either 600 or 800, and then when I'm doing the polishing later, I'll take it all the way up through 10,000.
So how long did it take to get to this point? What do you think? How many hours?
A lot of hours, enough that I don't want to add them up. But I can do a square foot of flat panel in maybe 2 hours.
Oh, okay. So you're pretty far along. You're almost done there.
Getting close.
And,
I can't stop now.
I like the way, I like the way you've chosen this little guy here with this little pad, so it doesn't damage. You can go hit all these curved surfaces here without gouging it. You got this like a little laboratory here. It's like you're a mad scientist removing the paint. I love it. But the result is remarkable. I mean, very few people have this kind of patience or understand and appreciate the result. And that's what, when I heard about this was happening, that's why I'm here. It's great to see.
It's like a dental cleaning, but for the car, one giant
tube. It's a unpainting laboratory you've got going here.
It's an unpainting laboratory, exactly.
And you develop your own tools. I like that. A true craftsman has to create his own tools to get it right.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. I just love this. It feels so smooth too.
Yeah, this is only to about 800. So this is just the bulk of the primer. I stop when I get here, and then I switch to the real fine stuff that you'll see I did in some of the other areas, where I go from about 2,500 up to 10,000.
I see.
And of course, all the sanding work that I do is all done wet. There's no dry sanding on this whatsoever. The only thing that's dry is the tape work and the scraping and the tight work, but everything else is wet sanded, where I just use a spray bottle here and the little DA. One of the things that came along was just this little air valve right here. Yeah. So
slow it down a little bit.
I can just slow it way down if I'm getting to. As the thinner the primer gets, the slower I have to go, and the finer grit sandpaper I have to use. So.
Sure.
And a glove to keep my hand from freezing, because after about an hour,
the
exhaust
it's
coming out here,
really cold.
It'll freeze your hand off. Yeah. So a good heavy glove works well, and that's kind of it. A lot of patience. Good music, a lot of patience.
Yeah, music, patience. What kind of music are we listening to?
Oh,
rock and roll?
Exactly.
Okay, this is
anything old. Anything from the vintage of the car.
Excellent. So Jeff, what kind of power plant are we looking at here in this old gal?
This is the base model 250 horse 327. They were all 327s that year. They had 4 different versions you could get of it. This is the least powerful of the 4.
Original air cleaner.
Yep.
Looks like somebody's been in here, maybe freshened up some paint on it.
Yeah,
decided to paint the exhaust manifold.
In the mid-90s, the owner said he was going to sell the car, and he thought he should clean up the motor, so he left it there and sprayed it. At the same time, he probably also bought these valve covers. These aren't the original valve covers, but I've got the originals.
They're cool though.
Yes.
And this air cleaner is great. And I'm noticing also there's no ignition shielding on this engine, and there never was. I don't see the brackets for it either, because there's no radio in this car from the factory.
Correct.
No radio, no antenna.
This is about as much room as you could possibly have in one of these engine compartments. No power steering, no power brakes, no ignition shielding. It's as stripped down as a 63 Corvette gets.
Yeah, and you can, when you go through this engine, you're going to go through the motor, I guess. You could really put it back to look like it's never been out by aging things. You could patina things slightly to make it look like it's never been touched, which would be kind of a fun thing to do in this car, because it really hasn't been touched. I mean, somebody spent a few minutes with a spray can. They don't want that to run the whole thing. But yeah, this is great. Thanks again, Jeff, for showing this car. I can't wait to see the result, and I can't wait to show it off with other people too in the garage. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. in the garage.